Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, I am going to be casting my votes for the 2022 NBA All-Star Game. So I'm probably going to do this like twice because this is like pretty early on in voting. And I might do one like closer towards the actual All-Star Game because at that point, you know, just a lot of things can change, man. Like, it's all important leading up to the All-Star Game, and the time between now and then is just as important between the time now and before, if that makes sense, man. Now, before we get going on today's video, want to let you guys know, man, like, this is obviously just like my type of voting and everything like that. Does not mean it's the end-all be-all. So if you don't mind leaving a like and of course subscribing, man, to show that crispy support here on the channel would be greatly appreciated. Also keep in mind that when it comes to the All-Star Game, I am definitely somebody that knows for a fact that there is more all-star caliber players in the NBA than there are all-star spots available for these players to be on. So yeah, man, just keep that in mind too. I respect so many great players in the NBA, and there's a lot of guys putting up beast-ass numbers, right? So let's go ahead and start out with the Western Conference guard position. So the first one, pretty damn easy right here. We got Steph Curry, man, averaging 28 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds per game, and the most important stat, 46 fantasy points. I'm just joking, not the most important, but yeah, the Warriors 27-6 on the season. Steph Curry definitely in the running for the MVP award. Pretty easy with this one right here, man. Don't really have much more to argue about Steph Curry being the starting point guard for the team. Now we get to the other guard spot, though, and this one actually gets a little bit difficult. I feel like there's a lot of guys that deserve this. Now, from an all-star standpoint, just like exciting players to watch, you know, you got Luka Doncic and Damian Lillard. Now, Luka Doncic averaging 26 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds per game. Right now, the Mavericks are 15-17 on the season. Luka's, you know, missed some ball games and stuff like that. Damian Lillard, you know, I like Damian a lot, and I respect his loyalty. I don't think he deserves to be a starter this year in the All-Star Game, man. You know, from a visual standpoint, I love watching Damian play. You know, John Morant's missed some time and stuff like that, but when he does play, I think John's definitely in the running, at least for most improved player, which, you know, second season is kind of weird saying that, but I think he definitely can win that award because he's been crazy. I feel like Donovan Mitchell deserves it, man. I feel like Donovan Mitchell is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, and I hate to use team franchise against a player because, you know, that happens a lot of times with my Detroit Pistons where it's like, oh, he plays for the Pistons, so it doesn't matter what he's doing over there. But the fact of the matter is that the Utah Jazz, outside of Jazz fans, you don't really have too many people that respect the Jazz. I don't know why, but I just don't know if it's like marketing or whatnot, man. But they're 23-9 on the season. Donovan Mitchell, 25 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds per game. I don't. Are you somebody that believes that an all-star should be based on record at all, or do you think that's more for like MVP, All-NBA team type of stuff, man? But you know, I think the Jazz deserve to have somebody representing as a starter, and I think that's Donovan Mitchell, man. I feel like that's Donovan Mitchell, so I'm cool with that personally. But also, I respect, you know, Luka, Damian, John Morant, what they're doing this year and everything. Even Devin Booker too, man. Like, you could definitely say that about Devin Booker because in this case, I guess I don't have the Phoenix Suns player representing. I don't have Chris Paul or Devin Booker, but who are currently second in the league. So yeah. It's just, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker. I mean, stat-wise, Mitchell's putting up the better numbers, so we're going with him. All right, there we go. If there's a bigger gap, or I'm sorry, a smaller gap that might have led towards Devin Booker, okay? Next up, let's do some forwards out there, man. So, first one, pretty easy. LeBron James, at the age of 50, still putting up MVP numbers, man. 27.7 assists, 7 rebounds per game. The Lakers are completely different without him. Easy, man. Absolutely easy. LeBron James for one of your front court players. There we have it there, okay? Let's do the next one. So the next player, I feel like you have to go with Nikola Jokic. So Jokic won the MVP award last season, and for whatever reason it is, nobody really cared, and I feel like it's just because the style of play, very sluggish and slow and everything like that. Not the most exciting, but you got to look at his numbers to know that the numbers that Jokic is putting up, not only this season, but last season too, has some of the historically greatest numbers of all time, man. From like a per standpoint and everything, he's been great. So yeah, I'm not holding Jokic's style play against him. Has to be represented here. Alrighty, man. So this next one gets a little bit tricky because you might, you know, off the top of your head say Paul George. And I would be cool with Paul George. The thing is that Paul George is now injured. He's going to be out for like a month, right? I'm pretty... 1 second. Hey Siri, is Paul George injured? He's reported his date today. Man, I could have swore I read a report that Paul George is out for like a month, man. I might have had a weird dream because I made the same mistake in my other video. Is Paul George out? Although I will say, too, that I did say that my voting is based off of what we've seen up until now and not in the future, because I'm going to do this again towards the end of voting. So I would say up until this point, you probably have to go with Paul George. I will say, the other guy that I was heavily considering was Brandon Ingram. Ingram, man, look at his stats, like what he's been doing, especially in the last few games and everything. He's been amazing. Karl-Anthony Towns is cool. I would have nothing against him, but having Jokic with, like, I guess maybe when it comes to my all-star voting, I'm a little bit more traditional, where I'm like, all right, you got like your center, and that's it, man. So I don't want Cat and Jokic playing together, which isn't fair, because it's like, I'd be cool having like 3 forwards. But I think I'm gonna go with Paul George, guys. Gonna go with Paul George with heavy respect and recognition towards what Brandon Ingram and Karl-Anthony Towns are doing. So, yes, there we go. And I think that's pretty good for a starting 5. Curry, Mitchell, James, Jokic, George. I have no, I know there's going to be comments saying you disrespected this player. It's like there's only 5 roster spots. If you think I'm disrespecting your player, then keep in mind if I would have voted for your player, there would have been the same amount of people saying I'm disrespecting the other dude that I have chosen here. So, yeah, I guess all I'm asking is, like, if you're watching this, respect, you don't have to agree with the choice, but you can respect where I'm coming from at least. Alrighty, man, next up we got the Eastern Conference. So starting with the first guard position. Oh, man. Okay. This is so tough. So tough. From a starter standpoint, I think you got to go with Trae Young. Like, Trae Young's nasty, man. Trae Young is nasty. Man, there's so many great guards to choose from. The thing that I'm struggling with here is, like, somebody that I really at least want to be represented in the All-Star game. Like, you look at, like, just the order of which they have players right here. Like, LaMelo and Darius Garland. Like, what those guys are doing this season, man. But I feel like Trae Young's got to have the first spot. I'm going to give it to Trae Young. The Hawks are 15-17 on the season. But keep in mind, man, like, there's only, like, 2 games separate, or 2 or 3 games, representing them from being, like, in the middle of the Eastern Conference. So, there's a lot of close teams this season. So we got Trae Young on there. And then we got the other guard spot, okay? So the Bulls are 20-10. I feel like they have to have a player that represents them. I feel like they have to, man. And then now you're making a choice between DeMar DeRozan and LaVine. I really wish DeMar could be listed as a forward. I just really wish that was the case and not a guard. And obviously, like, the other 2 guys that I'm really heavy on too is LaMelo Ball and Darius Garland, but kind of feeling more like reserved territory for them. Man, LaMelo Ball, like 28-8, man. Tyler Hero would be crazy if he made the All-Star team as a 6-man. That'd be sick. Beal not having his greatest season, so I'm cool with him not making it. James Harden not having his greatest season. I'm okay with him, being a reserve or something like that. Jaylen Brown, I feel like Fred VanVleet's extremely underrated. But I'm going to go between DeMar and DeRozan. I mean, DeMar and LaVine, my bad. LaVine has been there with the Bulls the entire time. DeMar DeRozan has had such a great comeback story. I wish I could vote both in. And I guess in theory, I actually could have them both as the backcourt. My 6th sense is leaning towards DeMar DeRozan. Because when push comes to shove, when everybody has been healthy, DeRozan has put up MVP caliber type of numbers. Which you might be saying, like, well, Crispy, look at it. His numbers are, like, identical to Zach LaVine. Yes. But I'm talking about the numbers DeMar was putting up before protocol was a big thing. He's still putting up these type of numbers with LaVine as things are going on. Does that make sense? I respect the Bulls are like one of my favorite teams to watch this season, man. I don't care which 2 it is. I don't care which one it is. As long as one of them makes it, man. Okay? So, yeah, that's how I'm at it with that. Okay? Alrighty. Next up, we got the forward positions. I feel like this should be a little bit more easygoing. Let's start off with Kevin Durant. About 30 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds per game. A lot of people thought this man was going to fall off to some extent after all of his major injuries. That's definitely not the case. Yeah, easy with Kevin Durant. Easy, man. Okay? Next up, the other guy. You got to go with Giannis. Pretty easy pick right here too, man. Like, nothing to be said about that, okay? So welcome to the All-Star team, Giannis. Then we got the final forward / center spot. And this is going to be, I would say, between Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid. Because all these other guys, you can make a lot of cases for a lot of these guys making the All-Star team, but not as the starter, man. Jimmy Butler probably would have been my vote if he played more games, but he just hasn't played a ton of games. Tatum and Joel Embiid. Oh my goodness. Tatum had a pretty slow start to the season, but obviously has picked things up. Joel Embiid has also, like, not played a ton of time. When he has played, you know, based off his shooting numbers, like if Embiid's playing his best basketball, the 76ers are really good. If he's just playing okay basketball, the 76ers don't win as many games. Oh, boy. Record-wise, 16-17, 76ers 17-16, so you can't really even use that for a factor. I'm going to say, for my gut feeling, both these guys deserve to make it. But I'm going to go with Jason Tatum, man. I feel like any other year I went with Joel Embiid, but there's something I'm just like, Tatum Tots deserves it, man. This was actually a lot tougher than I thought it would be. Because, like I was saying, there's so many deserving players. And a lot of these guys that I was talking about, please believe are going to be in my reserves, man. Definitely going to be in my reserves and everything like that. So, hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Maybe I'll do an actual video too for like reserves, but I just want to do the starters for this one. So that's all we have. I'm going to review and submit this. I think this is my final stand. Whoa. That was trippy, man. Literally, I just blinked and for some reason Donovan Mitchell, like, my mind blipped him off. Like maybe that's a sign I shouldn't have Mitchell as a starter, man. Let me review this one more time. Donovan Mitchell. Who else would I have over him, man? Boy. You know what? Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell is who I'm between. Man, bro, I don't know. You know, okay. Oh, here we go. I'm going Devin Booker. Man. That's all we got for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.